Well, security, we've been told, will continue to be a part of the agenda for 2022. And if anything, I don't want to say skirmishes, because lives have been involved in this particular one. We've been informed that, or reports came in, that in Plateau State, a traditional ruler was kidnapped. Thankfully, he was successfully rescued. We also saw a skirmish. Maybe we shouldn't call it a skirmish, because people eventually died in that particular attack. About 4 people died in one community in Plateau State. We have to welcome our guests here this morning to discuss what is happening in Plateau in particular. We have with us this morning Honorable Dachong Bagos, who is a member representing Jos South East Federal Constituency and is a member of the National Security and Intelligence Committee. You're welcome to Sunrise Elite this morning.
Morning, Murphy. Good morning, Nigeria.
Good morning. And we also have with us here Colonel Yomi Dare, who is a former director, Army Legal Services. You're welcome to our studios this morning, sir. It's been a while. We heard you live in person. It's been mostly via Zoom. But here you are this morning. Sadly.
Good morning, Mokwe, and thank you for having me on board.
Thank you for honoring us. Perhaps we'll just go to Lagos now and let our guests there be introduced as well.
Well, yeah, we do have Dan Mangjan. He's a commissioner for information for Plateau State. He joins us first. And good morning, Mr. Mangjan.
Good morning, Chamberlain. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria.
Well, what we see coming through from Plateau raises a lot of concerns, really. But concerning what actually happened, how is the state handling some of these things? Is it that the state is, perhaps, first of all, could you start by giving us your perspective of how these things transpired?
Yeah, well, I would thank you for the opportunity, first of all. And I would say, without any fear of contradiction, that the situation in Plateau State is much has been improved. Improved in the sense that we have witnessed a spate of kidnappings and people have been rescued. The wife of the deputy chief of staff assigned to the office of the deputy governor was kidnapped, and alongside, and again with another doctor, and they were rescued. 3 students of the Plateau State Polytechnic were kidnapped and were rescued without any ransom being paid. The Dagom Wang was kidnapped and rescued. And there have been so many, and then there has been a crackdown on the den of the kidnappers in Bukuru area, and that is where we are. The Suntiem was kidnapped, was released. Of all these kidnappings, most of them have been rescued without any compensation, and then there's no gory appearance. And so we on the plateau, the security agencies are working seriously to make sure that we read them. And then the death sentence on kidnappers is still hanging because it is there. If for anybody, the state governor has sworn that anybody that has been adjudged or pronounced to have been involved in kidnapping, he is ready he is prepared to sign the death sentence of that person. And we are waiting for the judiciary, we are waiting for the security to see whether he means that or not. And because of that, we are we are not saying that we have gotten rid of kidnappers and miscreants and criminals on the plateau, but the recent events have shown that the security, have shown that the people, the vigilante, the hunters have put their heads together, and then they are rising up to the challenge. And so
when you say things have improved, it raises some questions because there were reports of some killings. But could you tell us, How were they rescued? Wasn't ransom paid?
No, like I said, all of these instances that I have mentioned, the victims were rescued without a ransom being paid. I make bold to say that because the families are listening to me and their relatives are listening to me, and I can assure you that that is the situation. I would not come to television like this and then I would say things that are not correct. But I can assure you that we would not want to mention names of other places, but we talk about our dear state. And everybody that lives in Plateau State knows that yes, there's criminality, but for the recent events of the past has shown that the security has lived up to its expectation, even though, like Oliver Twist, we would be more than happy to find that the state is completely rid of gotten rid of criminals. But we cannot say that what has been done so far cannot be commended. We commend the security. His Excellency has issued a statement commending the security in that direction, and that is where we are. We will continue to, because security is a matter of both government and the individual. We keep saying that we know that our primary responsibility is to secure the state, is to secure humanity, to secure people that live within Plateau State. And like we keep saying that the security is a matter of both the individuals and the state. And that is why, as a government, we have it on our 3-point agenda. The first thing on that agenda is peace, security, and good governance. And even if we are not able to do
okay, Mr. Manjan, just a minute before you go further. On that point where you spoke about the families listening to you, they were rescued without any ransom paid, you commend the security agencies. Well, one of the persons who's connected to them, just as you also are, it's Mr. Honorable Bagos. He represents Just East and South. So let's get his direct response to that particular part of your comments concerning how they were rescued. Honorable Bagos, what's your impression about how he says they were rescued?
Chamberlain, that we are still not yet ready to address these issues headlong. And these are reasons why the issue of kidnapping, the issue of insecurity is still on the high increase. My elder brother, the respected commissioner, could have gotten more facts to understand that these kidnappers cannot in any way kidnap someone and let him go like that. My chief was kidnapped as one of the senior sons and daughters of that community. We contributed money and paid ransom before he was released. All throughout that period, we did not see any form of negotiation from the security agencies. We contributed money, paid ransom before he was released. And we will not accept the fact that they will tell us that no ransom was paid. Because if we continue in this nature, which means such kidnappings will continue, these people will go collect money, and government will come and tell us that they did some grandstanding to be able to rescue the kidnappers. Every Nigerian knows, everybody knows, this is not an issue that it should be hidden again. Everybody knows people pay ransom as low as 50,000 to rescue their own family members in some communities. As low as 50,000. People pay hundreds of millions, people pay tens of millions, 5 of millions, 1 million, 2 million. This is like another underworld business of kidnapping in Nigeria. So, but if we continue to hide under the canopy that the security agencies grandstand to rescue the victims and so on and so forth, how did they rescue the victims? Where are the videos that those victims were, when you see international communities of some operations, you see them with helmets, with cameras. At the end of the day, they show you how they carried out those operations. Where are ours? Even here in the Northeast, when the military and so on and so forth flush out some of these hideouts, you see videos. Where are ours?
Let me clarify this, because some people will say that people being asked to pay ransom in certain instances, even by security operatives, is not strange. That sometimes they use it to lure out the people who they would like to arrest, the bad guys. That sometimes this ransom is paid, the people rescued, and then sometimes the ransom is even recovered. Have you experienced such a situation?
I have not. And let me tell you, during hours, when we were paying the ransom, we mark the monies. We mark the monies. Because in the sense that if they have been rescued or security agencies do whatever they want to do, and at the end of the day, the monies are recovered, we will know that truly these were the monies we gave out.
So
at least with some of our own little background knowledge of some of the, we marked virtually all the monies we gave out so that we will know that when it comes back.
Under no circumstance has the money that you've ever paid
been
recovered.
Absolutely not. And again, I must acknowledge the DSS in Plateau State, where they told us that they are making some efforts. And 2 days ago, I saw that three of the perpetrators were killed or so on and so forth. Well, we're still waiting for investigation. If they were the people that perpetrated those acts, where is the money they recovered? Because if we see the money that was recovered, we know how it was marked, and we'll be able to acknowledge the fact. But my point here is
that's one. And then two, I wanted to find, because I think you just answered the second leg, which I was going to ask you, that even if you've not seen any monies recovered, have those who have been perpetrating this sort of attacks, and in many instances, I don't know how many instances,
we saw,
you've had to pay ransom, but those who abducted those whom you've had to pay ransom for, have there been cases where they have been arrested, where arrests have been made?
Yeah, so that's why I said I commend the DSS because of the information we got, and the report that we saw, STF got about three people. We saw the dead bodies and so on and so forth. But it's now left for us to know that these three people, are they the people that have been terrorizing Plateau State in recent times? You know, so with the death of these three people, is it that we will no longer hear any kidnapping in Plateau State? So these are issues that we need more confidence. These are issues that we want to know the background of.
Were they arrested in your constituency?
Yes. They said
along
Gero, also that's part of my constituency. And you see, this issue of kidnapping along Gero, along Shen, Axis, all those hilly sites, they have been terrorizing people. Once it is 7 o'clock, along Rayfield, Guratop areas, and so on and so forth, people always go into hiding. I know of someone just a few weeks ago, by his gate, he was entering his house. Lo and behold, they were waiting for him there. And this is just like few meters to a certain checkpoint. And these people come in, kidnap, whether in houses, around those areas. It will interest you to know that today, they will come to this house, kidnap in the night, the people will pay ransom, the victim will come back in the evening, and they will come to the next house, the next neighbor, not even the next street, kidnap again, pay ransom, and come back in the evening within the same axis. What are we talking? There are people that can testify. I can get not less than 10 people that will testify on these very issues. But these are issues that, look, government should come and tell the truth, so that they will be able to have vigilantes are working on daily basis, hunters are working on daily basis. But what we want is a coordinated effort to be able to solve this problem once and for all. Because if we track these people very well, we should be able to know their hideout. And mind you, most of these kidnappers usually have discussions with family victims. And lines are on. So why can't we use technology to trace these people as they are communicating with with victims' families? That look, so easily, so these are issues that everyone usually wonder, why will this thing continue? If we are talking of technology, these people communicate through phones, and none of these people
we
have
will
been
come
tracked.
to that shortly, and I will certainly be asking for Colonel Dari's intervention in that regard. But let me quickly ask our Commissioner for Information, Mr. Manjang, if you have any response to some of the observations he's made with regards to those who have been kidnapped, situations where ransom was paid, and also in terms of arrests and the situation of security in general.
Yes, okay, yes. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking based on the facts that I have from the Operation Safe Haven, from the security agencies. We have press releases that have been sent by the information officer of the STF in Plateau State to say that no ransom is being paid. And those releases are in the public domain. I speak to the facts that are before me, via the security. And if the Honorable Bagos is saying that there are monies that have been paid as ransom, I am not saying no, and the monies are being marked. It means then that it's an indictment on the security, because if monies have been marked and ransom has been paid, and security is saying that no ransom has been paid, then it is an indictment on the security. Secondly, I'm happy that my brother is there, my honorable member is there. I still want to make an appeal that security matters, they are constitutional matters. They have to look at the Constitution and the National Assembly to make sure that the governors are given the authority to back. They have teeth, but they cannot bite. It's a security matter. It's a constitutional matter which they must look dispassionately because security issues are holistic. That is the response that I would have, that I am building my submission based on what is made available to me by the security agencies.
If I could just come in quickly, are you referring to the statement by the Military Information Officer, OPSH, Major Ishakuta? Is that the statement you said that ransom payments was mentioned?
Yes, we work together. We work together with the police PRO. We work together with the military. We work with the security agencies, and the information that they give us out is what we use. Any other thing, there are instances that ransom are being paid. I'm not saying it's absolute that ransom is not being paid, but the recent events of, if you look at those press releases that have been released by the Operation Safe Haven military information officer, those are the issues that we hinge on. Those are the background that we fall back on.
Right.
Because as
Commissioner, pardon me.
officer,
So I'm reading that particular statement that I referenced about the rescue of a paramount ruler of WAG, and there's no point that ransom payment or otherwise was mentioned in that statement. So which one talks about ransom not being paid specifically, so we're sure where the source of your information is?
the kidnap of the wife of the deputy chief of staff and the doctor in Barkin Ladi, ransom was not paid. The 3 girls that were rescued at the Polytechnic, ransom was not paid, and all this information is given by Major Takwa. And if ransom is paid, like I said, and monies are marked, then the security should be asked that question, and not the Commissioner of Information or the government of Plateau State.
Well, let me come to you now, Kanadari. Nonetheless, I mean, whether or not we want to stay on the debate of whether or not ransom was paid is one kettle of fish. But looking at the many incidences of kidnapping is certainly something to be worried about in Jos Plateau State. It means that Operation Safe Haven certainly have their work cut out for them. From the way Honorable Bagos has described the sort of criminality which we seem to be experiencing in Plateau, what would you say is going on?
Well, I think the security agencies and the government and the victims, probably they are not, there's no synergy. And I would say here that to succeed in any exercise, and especially security matters, there has to be cooperation. All parties that are involved need to cooperate. And at this point, you know, the position of the commissioner, and especially, well, that of the state, I would say here, and then the victims, and then even the JTF, they are at variance. So I encourage that there must be some synergy, you know, and security at this point in time should be holistic. Should be holistic, you know.
When you say holistic, what do you mean?
What I'm saying here is that there's no point, you know, begging the issue. There's no point hiding, you know, behind the fingers. You know, everybody, all hands must be on deck, you know, here. And again, let me quickly say something, because I wouldn't know if I will have the opportunity to say it here. Just like the Honorable Commissioner said, and it's part of the points that I'm going to say here in my conclusion. But let me just quickly put it on the table here. It's high time that the state governors are given, you know, the full authority to be in charge of their states. You call them chief security officer. They are chief security officer on paper. They are chief security officer on paper. Let's remove ourselves from politics, because lives are involved here. I mean, this has become a norm now. It's just more or less like the new normal. People are being kidnapped. You know, they go house to house. Who are those people? And that, again, brings me to the issue of state policing and community policing. Okay? Every community, the people know themselves. I mean, this is, for crying out loud, a whole chief of a community, you go and pick him up, you pick up his family.
That's becoming rather rampant
now.
Come on,
I mean, come on.
We cannot count how many communities have experienced their traditional rulers being picked up now. It's becoming a thing.
That's a desecration, you know, of that exalted office. So, but for crying out loud, if you allow, community policing, first the chief himself is part of, you know, that local security committee, okay? The local government chairman is involved. And then, of course, state policing. The governor sits down there and he's in charge. I mean, I know a lot has been said about governors hijacking the security instruments of the state. I mean, right now, with all due respect, is the federal government not using their own might too? Everyone is. So it's high time, you know, we make this very clear so that we can have some peace. Yeah. If the security challenges we are facing right now, if it's not challenged, addressed holistically, honestly, we are very far away from peace. And don't forget, this period, elections is just around the corner, okay? There's so much youth restiveness, so much unemployment, so much hunger in the land.
So that's why I was asking, you know, because before now, we know the sort of security issues which are usually reported in Plateau State. And oftentimes, it used to border on rural communities. But it looks like now the pattern of crime is changing. It's moving to urban communities, and it would seem that kidnapping is now what is rife. So it looks like this is another kettle of fish entirely, different from what, will I say, Operation Safe Haven was meant to counter. Would you say that do you see a role for them here in what is happening in the urban areas?
You mean a role for the safe haven?
Yes.
Of course, they do have. They do have. It behoves on the commander, the commander on the ground. But again, I mean, I've not spoken, with them, but let's look at it. How many troops do they even have at their disposal? Do you look at the terrain of Plateau State, for example, or the hilly parts or the valley parts, okay? You know? So again, let me tell you something here. Well, it's just that we are discussing Plateau State right now. But it's not only in Plateau State.
Indeed.
All across the country, we have issues. North, northeast, south, west, all over. So, yes.
The reason why it is important to, I mean, we're still going to expand as the conversation moves on. Yes. But the reason why I'm trying to, you know, because it would seem that every state has a peculiar problem. In Plateau State, we used to have what they call farmer-herders crisis in the rural communities. In some instances, it was also identified as indigent settler problem in Plateau State. That's what we used to see take a lot of lives. In other parts of the country, I'll give you an instance. In Niger State, they have an entirely different problem. You heard the governor come to Abuja say that some communities in his state have been attacked up to 50 times, and close to 200 people have been killed in January alone. January is not yet over in 2022. So if you look at what is happening there, it might be an offshoot of what is happening elsewhere, but it's certainly a different kind of problem from what you see happening in urban areas. So that's why I'm asking if there's a way, because every security situation will have its own type of solution, it will seem. From what you can see in the urban areas where kidnapping is now what is rife, what sort of solutions would you be proffering in this instance?
Well, for Plateau State in particular, I think what I want to say is that the government should move closer to the JTF so that they can all sit down, and then other security agencies too, okay, like the DSS, okay, like even now as we speak, the vigilantes too, the hunters, their various heads, they have to all sit down together on the table and decide on how to manage the situation.
Interestingly, in this rescue of the traditional ruler, we understand that the vigilantes and the hunters were very helpful. Let me see if I can find the part from the statement now, which was released by the military information officer, Ishako Takwa, who is the information officer in charge of Operation Safe Haven. He says the troops, in conjunction with other security agencies, vigilante groups, and hunters, conducted clearance operations in the mountainous region of Sabongida Canal, Gero, is that Gero or Gero? Gero, yeah. And the whole general area. 2 suspects were arrested at an abandoned building during the operation. He says they're commending the troops for their swift response, and they also appreciate the efforts of vigilante and hunter groups who all provided useful information. This was in the rescue of the paramount ruler of Viang, His Royal Highness Gyan Gut Balak, who was abducted on Sunday, the 16th of January.
Yeah, Mark, well, let me tell you something. It is very unfortunate, and I really sympathize with the people of Plateau State, the genuine people of Plateau State, because this crisis in Plateau State has been on for over 2 decades now, well over 2 decades. So why is it, evading a solution?
We'll come to that shortly. Let's go on this break, and then we'll come and ask Honorable and the Commissioner, of course, what we think is happening in Plateau State. Please stay with us.
And some people
Good afternoon, Oga. Now you be the landlord.
Yes, Nami.
Oga landlord, me go need 1 room for this your house, so.
Okay, sure you get work where you dey do.
Yes, I be nurse.
You know go dey owe me be that now.
Now how much be your rent, Sef?
Not just 90,000 naira. Wait, this guy, where you come from, Sef?
Oga, I come from Akamata.
Akamata, no talk am again. My spirit and Akamata people no they ever join.
Okay, wetin happen now?
Come over my compound. Na so baba thing na people sabi do for that Akamata. Come over here. Haba, Papa, wetin this innocent girl do you now? Now people like you, they spoil Nigeria, Papa. I think you don't see them now. My people, they talk, say jollof rice, we dey for bottom pot today. Go day top of cooler tomorrow. As I take need you now, so you self need me. Because now one mama we get, we be Nigeria. Make we love ourselves. Because now only together we go fit to make our country better for us and our children them. One heart plus one love equals better Nigeria. Now the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government, they bring in this message.
The cardiovascular system is the heartbeat of the human body. So when you think heart, health, and wellness, keep your eye on what really matters, your cardiovascular health. Pro-RG9+, the science behind the Nobel Prize Award-winning plant-based discovery that supports the cardiovascular health and immune system. Unlock your health potential with Pro-RG9+, available in pharmacies nationwide.
The Royal Terrace Estate is one of our luxurious properties in the city of Lagos. It is rightly located in White Oak Estate, Ologolo by Jakonde Lekki. This Royal Terrace is a 4-bedroom terrace that's to be built on 3 floors. And right now, the construction work has already started. We've casted a ground floor slab. And as you can see, the concrete work is very pure. And you know what Ring Revolution Plus is known for? Quality and excellence. For you to have the benefit of this house, you need to just subscribe to our property with an initial deposit of what? 25 million. And it's a limited unit, just 15 units. And you become a landlord in this beautiful estate here. So just subscribe to our properties and have the benefit of having a house here with a payment flexibility.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 123.
Before lesson, learning was extremely difficult for me.
Learning was okay, but it was hectic.
After I started using the lesson app, things started getting better for me, and I started studying more than I used to.
Biology has become a piece of cake because with any time in an exam hall when I'm forgetting something, any subject or biology, I'll just remember the picture a tutor used to describe a particular thing, and I'll quickly remember.
When we got this new lesson app and she started to study, beyond our imagination and thoughts, she cleared her papers in SS2. I must tell you, it made me proud. I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
Download on the Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
The Nigerian Bar Association is set to host its inaugural Justice Sector Summit on Tuesday, 25th of January 2022. Venue is Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, 9 a.m. prompt. The summit, which is themed Devising Practical Solutions Towards Improved Performance, Enhanced Accountability, and Independence in the Justice Sector. Special guests, Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, SAN, GCON, Senate President Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, Chief Justice of Nigeria Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, Speaker of the House of Representatives Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, and the Attorney General of the Federation Abubakar Malami, SAN.
We're still looking at the situation in Jos Plateau State, and here in our studios we have with us Mr. He's joining us via Zoom, Mr. Dan Manjang, who is the Commissioner for Information in Plateau State. We also have Colonel Yomi Dare, who is a former Director, Army Legal Services, and also Honorable Dachong Bagos, who is a member representing Jos South East Federal Constituency and also a member of the National Security and Intelligence Committee in the National Assembly. Honorable, let me start with you in terms of, or let me continue with you in terms of mapping out what the security situation is currently in Plateau State. I was trying to differentiate between the problems we usually would hear about in the rural areas of Plateau State, some of which fall under your constituency. But it would seem that the trend of criminality we're seeing now is on the increase in the urban areas. What would you say is responsible? Have there been any talk or any research or any, I don't know, brainstorming into what could be responsible for the shift in terms of what we're seeing?
Yeah, Malpe, if I can remember that sometime in 2017, 2018, on this platform, I said if we did not address the issues in the urban center, in the rural centers, it will reach the urban center. And today, here we are. Addressing these issues is that security agencies usually know what to do. They usually know the issues, and I must commend all of them when they came into the Plateau, when they came onto the Plateau, JTF, STF, the DSS, all the security, they know the real perpetrators. But at the end of the day, it usually ends on a table of a politician that will usually agree to execute these commands or not. You will see that even the security agencies, at the point, they will go arrest these people. And when they come in, they brought in them for arrest, either through the JTF or whatsoever. Within 24 hours, they are being requested to be moved to Abuja. And if they are moved to Abuja, within another 24 hours, the same people, you will see them on the streets. They have been released. Or even down there. So when you always go on arrests, press statements, whatsoever you want to do, and justice is not being given, justice is not being taken, it will be the same cycle. These people will know that, oh, well, we will do this thing. All it takes is they will put out in cell for some days. Our relatives or all the big men will know, will come and take our bail, and they will go back to the... But nobody is in jail. Nobody has been given any sentence or whatsoever.
So it's a legal problem.
So, not just legal problem, political will, Maupe, to be able to address these issues headlong. Resources are being spent. We appropriate money from the National Assembly to address the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. We have sat down through Security Summit to bring out some of these areas, how these issues can be addressed. But at the end of the day, when it gets to operational level, that's where you have the problem. This, I can assure you, even the JTF and even DSS and so on and so forth, they are tired of some of these issues. They go and map out, go and do some raids and do whatsoever. But at the end of the day, they carry out raids on the same people maybe twice a year or twice in 3 years of their stay there. Mm. It's just like when a police, a local police station, and they come back, one of the local armed robbers come and he will say, you again. Yeah, put him in the cell. After 1 week, they will release him. They'll come back, you again. You know, that is the routine. No justice has been given to these victims. Now
you put it down to a lack of political will. I do not know whether there's been. Let's see if
political. Let me still further explain this. Political will, in the sense that most of addressing Nigerian insecurity problems usually end with religion, ethnicity. This person that has been captured, he's my tribal person. Please, let's look for a way on how he'll be released. This person that has been captured, we are from the same church or from the same mosque. Let's see how we're going to work on releasing him. This has been what is happening. But when we don't want to face it headlong, just like my argument with the issue of paying the ransom, let's say the truth as it is. Yes, the security agencies were involved. They know about it, but till when he was released. but saying it as it is. There's no need for us to sugar, but when we start sugarcoating a lot of issues, that is where the people and the perpetrators will say, good, let's go and do it again. This is the kind of press release that will come up tomorrow. The people will pay ransom, and the security agencies, whatever, well, we can sacrifice 1 or 2 people. But no, let it be a situation where if these perpetrators will be raided, the entire top hills will be raided, not just a small hideout, because most of them stay in some of those places. Like now, the people that were killed yesterday at the mining site, they were just doing their normal business. Unfortunately,
they were mining legally.
They were mining. They were just mining within a certain areas.
What were they mining? Was it tin?
Yeah, it was tin. I wouldn't say whether they are mining legally or illegally, but at least these people came out. They were doing whatever. The people that shot them were these security agencies that came and told them that you are mining illegally. Even if it is security agencies will arrest them not to come and shoot them outside. And these people came, shot them, and they ran away.
I'm asking this because how will I put it now? The substance, the natural resource which they are mining is also of importance.
Exactly.
In Zamfara now, where we know that gold is now a thing in the state, we've seen how the crisis there has quickly escalated and how it is very difficult to put it under control. That's what I was clarifying from you.
This thing has been there.
Tin, which Jos is known for, or it was another mineral resource.
This thing has been there on the plateau for long. If you remember, there's a place that has been nicknamed, it's Rakum, but nicknamed Mahanga, where the senator died about 2012. There is a serious mining site there, which they have chased the people in that community, and they have condoned serious mining is going on in that place. And the community people cannot access that place up till date.
What are they mining there?
Tin, of course.
Okay, so tin.
The same issue.
Tin is becoming a rather precious resource.
The same issue is in Wase. The same issue is in Wase. So these are flashpoints where people are going to do their normal business, and these terrorists come in, spray them out, so that they leave that place and they take over the place for their own illegal activities, which has been even the same thing that we have been talking about grazing. If you look at most of those areas that they kill people, those grazing areas have fertile grasses, and there are ponds. So these are technical and tactical issues that security agencies could and should be able to map out, that these are flashpoints.
Let me raise some of the issues you've raised now with the Commissioner for Information. I do not know whether there's been any response whatsoever from the Attorney General of the state in terms of what they've noticed, patterns of criminality, prosecutions at all, if any. What exactly is going on with people who are arrested? When they're arrested, does the state see to it that they're fully prosecuted and perhaps jailed?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly put on record that the crisis that is happening in Plateau State is in pockets of places and is concentrated in the northern senatorial zone. I am not aware of any crisis in Wase. Let us put the record straight. Even in the mining sites in Wase, I'm not aware of any crisis that is going on there. Having said that, I will tell you that as a matter of fact, there are crisis merchants. We have isolated cases, arrests have been made, and there is none of these kidnappings and none of this criminality that happens without an insider. There are insider elements. There is connivance and collusion. It is an industry. We can cite cases whereby people that are very close to the victims are the ones that perpetrated the act. The killing of the father of our dear governor, Joshua Darie, is a case in point, when the thinking was that it was a group of people, and I don't want to stereotype, but when the arrests were made, they are people from the same village with him. And all I can say is that whether it's kidnapping, cattle rustling, criminality, the people they team up. They are joined in their criminality. They have an understanding, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion, irrespective of politics. And so that is where we are. And then back to what the question that you asked, Maupe, about whether the Attorney General of the state knows anything or what he has said. Yes, that is why the state has been able to come up with this law, criminalizing banditry, criminalizing rape, criminalizing a lot. And so, in as much as it is a political problem, but like I keep saying, and even last week the governor reiterated that any kidnapper adjudged to have been found kidnapping and has been sentenced by the law court, he is yet to receive that kind of judgment. He is ready to make it to sign the death warrant of such a person.
Yeah, just 1 second. Something you said now just struck me. Did you say that insecurity is a political problem?
No, I said it is the matter of insecurity, not a political problem. It's a matter that has to be looked at dispassionately. That has to be looked at by everybody. The punishment, the sanction. Because at the end of the day, the bomb falls on the table of somebody. And I said, there is a law now criminalizing kidnapping, which...
So, well, Mr. Mangat, if the punitive measure is a political problem, how then do we solve it? How then do we get ahead of it? You just covertly now, I might say, just a second, you have just covertly referenced what Mr. Honorable Bagos said just now, that people at the end of the day, they trivialize, if I can also, call it that, insecurity issues into, or reduce them into ethnic issues and religious issues. Is that what you're saying as well?
What I'm saying is that criminals join they don't know color, they don't know religion, they don't know tribe, they don't know politics, they don't know any affiliation. All they know is their perpetration of criminality.
There is that is part of the reason that people are placed in government. You asked to do a job of protecting people, of preventing criminality and insecurity and all of that. And naturally, people would expect that the least you can do is to do what the Constitution says, which is to prevent crime and criminality. So one of the questions, just a second, one of the questions that will naturally come to me, that always comes to me when we hear of such things as this is, where is the intelligence? These things don't just happen. There is always, we have been told severally that there's always intelligence given to governors, information that goes ahead to say, okay, there's a likely trouble that's going to be happening, and these things happen, and then we don't know about it until it hits the headlines, and then we have this kind of program to talk about these issues. So is it something that caught the state government unawares, didn't know it was going to happen? Could it have been prevented?
Even in Plateau State, we have engaged about 3,000 youths on intelligence gathering. They have been trained. They are called trained by the authorities, by security, by the police, called police constabularies. They have been trained on intelligence gathering. And I keep saying that is why we have a Plateau State today. And it is a constitutional matter. As a matter of fact, we have said it here. We have agreed, Yomi has also agreed with me that the chief security officer of the state is just on paper. And I take it back to the fact that it is a constitutional matter, and my brother seated there has a big role in changing.
Just said now that state government took a proactive action, got some youth to give some intelligence information. Is it that intelligence exercise is not working, that this happened without the government knowing about it?
The intelligence is working, and that is why we have a Plateau state today. Without that kind of support, we wouldn't have had a Plateau state today. Without that support, we would have been sitting down here today. And I can assure you that it is because of the proactive measures that we have been able to put in place. If you do comparative analysis, you would know that it is then that you will know that the situation is much, much better. But I agree that there is still room for improvement. And this security is a matter of both the individual, the governed, and the ungoverned.
One will expect then that from what you said now, the state government is engaging with the communities. Takes me to the question of the issues raised by Honorable Bagos about those flashpoints. Can we say crime waiting to happen if nothing is done to get ahead of it? You heard him talking about some mining sites that are flashpoints that need to be plugged before crisis rises there. What's the plan?
The plan is that the state government is working with the security, is working with vigilante. We are clamoring for community policing. We have a semblance of what the state police Operation Rainbow. We have been assisting. What the state governments are doing is to be able to engage the communities. The peace building agency is there, engaging a community in less than 3 months, engaging a community 35 times so that they come to round table and dialogue. We must talk to ourselves. If we want to live in peace in Plateau State, the elites must come, the people must come and talk. We are losing our values. Religious institutions must come in, government must come in, individuals must come in, technocrats must come in. Elites must come to a round table and agree that criminality...
Look, Commissioner, dialogue certainly is important, absolutely. And just before I go to Colonel Dari to get his perspective on a lot of issues raised, let me just ask you quickly, is anyone in detention? Because I recall there were attacks in May as well in Dongan, Riom, and you spoke at that time and you talked about what is being done, how arrests should be made. From that one and this one, has anyone been arrested, prosecuted, and jailed for these attacks?
As a matter of fact, for arrests, we are made to understand arrests have been made, jailed. I know of a judgment that was given in the abductor of the Longdorok. The jailers, the abductors were given life sentence. And as at that time, the law criminalizing by death penalty of kidnappers was not yet in place. And so that judgment is there, and the abductors I expect that they should be in jail by now. When arrests are made, it is the security that will be able to say at what point, because it is a process. When arrests are made, you are supposed to take the victims to court or the suspects to court. From court, the court proceedings are there, and then when judgment is passed, it is then that the state takes over.
Okay, so because of our time, let's quickly take this to Colonel Dari in Abuja, Commissioner. Well, Colonel Dari, a lot of issues have been raised, and I know you're really raring to go on this one. But regarding the conversation around ethnicity, religion come into play when it comes to tackling insecurity, I wonder, is there some provision, really, for security agencies? Because this is essentially put at the table of security agencies, in quote, saying they perhaps compromise from time to time. How do you avert that? What should be done to ensure that that doesn't mess up this whole fight against insecurity?
Well, Kayode, thank you very much. As far as I'm concerned, what you have said, is right. Because there's what I see here, especially in the case of Plateau State, there's a lot of complicity. There's a lot of complicity. And you recall that ever before we even had the issue of Boko Haram, the crisis in Plateau State has been on. And then, it has been, initially was just down in the local communities, but as we speak, it has come into the urban centers. And if something drastic is not done at this point in time, then we are in for a big trouble. Plateau used to be a very safe haven, and just as per the Operation Safe Haven. you know, but you can't really say that right now. Again, everything is colorized with politics. Everything is colorized with religion. Everything is colorized with ethnicity, you know. I want to prefer a solution here, and my solution is just simple. There must, you know, we must be pragmatic in addressing this. What do I mean? Any state, any community, anywhere in this country that have defiled, you know, all forms of, all means of mitigating the insecurity, a state of emergency should be declared. That is just it. A state of emergency should be declared. And I also want to say this, especially also with our border communities, because most of this, where we have serious problems, again, aside Plateau State, because we've just been discussing Plateau State. And I quickly say that, well, it's not only in Plateau State. We have crises all over, especially, you know, in communities that are on the border areas too, you know. So we need to get across to the bordering countries, like the Lake Chad, like the Benin Republic, like the Cameroons. And if these people are not cooperating, I think we should also look at, you know, give consideration to shutting down our borders, because life is involved here. We cannot continue in this manner. Every day, people are dying. People are dying. And of course, I still go back to say that the state governors should be empowered. They should be empowered. They are the chief security officers. Look at what happened recently. I saw in the social media, one of the governors in the southeast, I mean the south, you know, he personally went into the field searching for illegal refineries, you know, making it compelling that all those, you know, are encouraging or in the habit of doing illegal bunkering should be brought to book. So these are some of the things that we are talking about. You know, if you allow them to be in charge of their states, you know, most of these issues of insecurity will really, you know, go. I mean, things will be reduced, even if not totally eliminated, but it will be really reduced, you know. So I want to encourage us to look into this. And of course, state and the community policing. State and community policing. You just imagine a whole traditional ruler, you know, and his family being kidnapped or being assaulted or being murdered. I mean, but by the time you have, you know, you localized and then involve, you know, the hunters, you involve the local vigilantes. I salute, like, for example, what the coalition of the Southwest governors, what they've done. Look at the Amotekun. Even if crises have not been totally, you know, eliminated in these western states or regions, but it has been reduced to a very large extent. And I want to encourage other state governors to set up, you know, their own local resistance, local vigilante. I mean, we're kind of in a stage where self-help is just the, you know, the way to go. You know, we just must arrest this. So that's my take. Thank you.
I was just going to come to you. And I also want to believe that regardless of the fact that, you know, you belong to a separate political or a different political party from the governor of the state, you have been able to set that aside to be able to see issues, especially with regards to security, from a common lens. Is that what is happening?
Yeah, you see, it's not about the issue of insecurity everywhere. And that includes Plateau State. It's not about party politics. It's about lives of human beings. Party politics, it's you can be in anywhere tomorrow. So I wouldn't be sitting here and be discussing or castigating the governor or whatever political structure it is on the Plateau because of party politics. So this issue of crisis on the Plateau have transcended since 2000 and whatsoever, when the PDP was in power. So it is not even about the party politics, it's about what can we do as legislators, which we have been trying to push from the constitutional amendment, to empower governors to have the power to be able to address the issue of insecurity. Now, if the governor finishes his tenure in 2023, PDP is coming into power, and I would be happy that it will still continue. So let us have a solution. Murphy, why are you crying?
The
Well, let's not talk.
could not resist
let's
that.
not talk about politics and that line. Well, 2023 is only in the hands of God. But still, you see, when we give governors the power, and again, for the fact of state of emergency he's talking about, democratically, to me, what I will understand and agree to the issue of state of emergency in terms of insecurity is that empowering the governor to be able to take whatsoever decision to address insecurity, not necessarily waiting to go and see the president, not necessarily waiting for IG to give Commissioner of Police directive, not necessarily waiting for the Chief of Army Staff or Defense Staff to be able to give STF the go-ahead to do that. So let it be like, look, you governor, because of insecurity, you have to, state of emergency, address this issue whatsoever. You can buy weapons, you can do this, you can build whatsoever you want to do, address the issue. And I must attest to the fact that, look, the STF that have been on the plateau have been able to curtail the issue of this fight in between our rural areas for some time now. Okay. But mine now is that, look, in as much as collectively we come, let's always say it as it is, so that all of us, being the politicians, the traditional rulers, the youths, and whosoever, the vigilantes, the hunters, let's come to the table and be able to share the intelligence that we can have at our own level to address, because
Honorable, we're totally out of time now. Yes.
Yeah, the issue of this mining, if we don't start addressing this issue now, God forbid that will be like Zamfara. So we should be able to proactive to start mapping out and defending our sites. If not, we will be like Zamfara one day, God forbid.
It's a fine place to leave it. We have to thank you both for coming on Sunrise Today this morning. Honorable Dachong Bagos is a member representing Just South, Just East Federal Constituency, and is also a member of the National Security and Intelligence Committee. We've also had with us Colonel Yomi Dare, who is a former director, Army Legal Services here in Abuja Studios. Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily. And joining us via Zoom was the Commissioner for Information, Mr. Dan Manjang, who joined us via Zoom from Plateau State. Thank you so much for coming on, Honorable Commissioner.
It's my pleasure.
We'll take a break now. We'll be back to analyze what happened last night. Well, hopefully it won't be too painful to review. Please stay with us.